Hello everyone, welcome again to this series of developing the final year project. Now we have to begin with database connectivity. So far we are done with creation of static pages and we also have created login and sign up forms now. Now it is the right time to discuss database connectivity because we have to connect sign up form with the database. So database is where the whole our data will reside. So first of all, before we actually jump to the coding part, there are certain basics, okay, we have to understand. If you understand this basics, of course the coding part of database connectivity will become cakewalk for you. So let's begin. So this is the stage 1 guys. You are there as a user. This is a general scenario. You are sitting on a machine client, the browser is acting as a client, okay. Normally you are trying to access a particular web page which is somewhere else over the internet, residing somewhere, okay. So you make a request, the request travels through the internet and gets delivered to that server which is responsible to give you the page which you are seeking and asking for. Inside that server there is a program you have written. That program can be now in language C#. Of course, when we are dealing with ASP.NET, we are building website using C# language. So let's think about it like that program has been coded in terms of C#. So that program is now responsible to give you the web pages which you are asking, okay. But also it may happen that user is also asking some data that belongs to user or some general data. So that program will communicate with the database. Database will give that data. That program will represent that data in form of HTTP response, will travel back to the client and it will get display on the user side on its browser. So this is a general scenario. So this is how things work in client server architecture, okay. And there is the role of database where it is continuously communicating with the program which resides on the server and pulling out and pushing out the data there, okay. Stage 2. So how this program which is residing on the server is communicating with the database. We are going to cover and use this technology called ADO.NET, that is ActiveX Data Object. Using the libraries you can say, using the classes you can say, using the objects you can say, okay. Using this technology we'll try to make our program communicate with the database irrespective of the database may belongs to MySQL vendor or Oracle or SQL server, doesn't matter. So here in stage 2 it is very much clear that if you want to have a database connectivity so that our program communicate with the database server, so we should know how to use ADO.NET libraries, or you can say framework or technology, okay. So what is there in ADO.NET actually? So the ADO.NET, ADO stands for ActiveX Data Object. It's nothing but a collection of objects are there which will help you out to make the connection with the database. What are those? So let's see one by one. So the first object inside this framework or platform or technology you can say like connection is there, the connection object. So that connection object you have to create, and then connection object will ask you, tell me the server name where the database reside. So of course this database may reside on different server or on the same server. So you have to give the server name. Then second thing it will ask you, give me the database name, because in that database there will be many databases for many other applications. So you have to be precise about it. You have to give your database name in which your table resides, and tables are interrelated. So give the database name. Third thing, it will also ask you the username. That is authentication part. Of course, database cannot be get accessed by anybody. So of course you have to give username and also the password. So these 4 things you have to give to the connection object. In return, connection object will build the connection with the database and give you one object that is called command object. This connection object will give you this command object. Using this command, okay, you can write the command like what SQL query we have got. Okay, you have to register your queries and parameter with this command like this. So this command will ask you, give me the query string. It can be like select, insert, update, delete, whatever query you have got, give it to the command object. And also the parameters, because you all know when we fire the query we also pass the parameters like condition where employee is equal to something something like that. So query string along with the parameter we have to submit. While inserting record also we have to give the parameter like email id, phone number, first name, last name while inserting the records. So those are nothing but the parameters. So query string and the parameter you have to give to the command object. Now in return command object will give you one more object, that is data reader. As the name says, data reader. So this object is responsible to read the data from the database. So this is what we call connected approach. The pipeline will get built here, virtual one. So data reader will be responsible to read the data from the database. And this is how things work in connected approach. So data reader will be remain in touch with database. Whatever data you will seek for, you will get it. So once again revise it. So we have got three objects here in ActiveX data object. In connected approach, connection object will ask you server name, database name, username and password. Then in connection object in return will give you command object. You have to register query string and parameters with the command object. Then command object will give you data reader object, and data reader will be the responsible object to read the data from the database. Let me complete the whole tutorial. You may have got some doubts, but let me come to the stage number 4 now. So the stage number 4. What is happening here? Now we are talking about disconnected approach here. So there will be some different objects here. So again we have got the same connection object, will ask you the server name, database name, username and password. In return it will give you the command object. Command object you have to register the query string and parameter as same. Now here instead of having data reader, you can have one more object called data adapter. Data adapter works in disconnected manner. Okay, it has got 4 properties. Property name is insert command, delete command, select command and update command. So whatever command you have got, whatever query string you have written, so register your command with data adapter this 4 property, any of these properties, like what you want to make it happen, like what you want to do, like whether you want to update, whether you want to insert, delete or select, what you want to do. So accordingly register the command with any of these properties: insert command, update command, delete command or select command. So what data adapter will do, okay, if you ask for the data, so data adapter will bring all the data here in the local repository, you can say, from the database in the data set. So data has been transferred from the database into the data set, and data adapter will perform all the operations on the data set now. And this is what you call disconnected approach. But using data adapter you will be able to insert, update, delete, select, whatever you want to do. So this is what you call disconnected approach. Data adapter will make a use of data set here. Moving on. So whether we have got the database from SQL Server vendor or Oracle or MySQL, accordingly people have to use these objects. Like when you want to have a connection object, you have to say SQL connection if you are using Microsoft SQL Server. If you want to work with Oracle, then there will be like Oracle connection, Oracle command, Oracle data reader, Oracle data adapter. Same goes for MySQL. So whichever backend or database you are using, accordingly you have to use these objects to make a connection with the database. But wait a second, one more object they have not just mentioned here, that is dataset. Dataset doesn't belong to any of this vendor because dataset belongs to .NET framework, which was in place outside, you all can see. So dataset is like a database only, okay, but has been provided by .NET framework. So where we are like pulling out the data and keeping it there and doing the operations there. So whether you work with SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, accordingly download the libraries, plugin. In the upcoming videos, I'll show you also like how to make the connection in ASP.NET with the MySQL, like from where you have to download the library, how to plug in, and you will be able to use MySQL connection, command, data reader, data adapter to have a operations with MySQL database. So finally, as a user, you have got this many options now. So if you want to only perform read-only access, you will be using SQL connection, SQL command, SQL data reader. If you're working with SQL server, of course, 3 objects. If you only want to have a write access, on the right hand side you can see you will be working with SQL connection and SQL command, 2 objects only. If you want to have a master access, means read and write both, then you will be using all the 4 objects. The SQL connection, SQL command, SQL data adapter and data set also. So you all can again see the data set has not been prefixed by the SQL word, SQL letter, because it belongs to .NET framework. So I hope things are clear. You people have understood like how the things will work, how the objects have been placed, what objects will demand, and in return what objects will give it to you. So using this knowledge, now we'll start with the coding. That's it from this video.
That's all guys from this video. If you really like this video, press like button and do subscribe to our channel. If any queries or suggestions, do comment below. For more such updates, follow us on Instagram and Facebook.